Yo, yo, yo. Okay, I'm not hip, but okay, anyway, so like I'm just gonna make this tutorial because right now I ate like way too much. Like I don't know what happened for dinner. Okay, yeah, I gotta just stay on task. I digress. Um, yeah, basically, I'm gonna just kind of do a crash course on how the thingy works. I mean the spawner works, the spawner mechanics in the game, how it works basically. So like I should try to speak faster because otherwise then I'm just gonna like run out of time in the video because I probably should make this under 10 minutes, but basically you should have you should read the class yourself first before you look at this because that's a very good like preview. My documentation is definitely not the best, but it certainly is better than nothing. So basically you got this spawn manager. All right, if you look at the outline, there's a couple like public methods that you really just need to worry about. uh, you won't really modify any lines of code really in this class other than just to register a new spawner, which then in case you would just modify these two lines, you just do control F think memes and then you'll find it. So you got these two things. So car wave spawner is basically with the wave of the car. So like there's like this gap between each wave of car so that the user doesn't like basically like have to die every round. So and then you have the between wave spawner, which is between obviously. So if I just quickly run through this, um, basically you got the car wave between, and this kind of stuff. Okay, that's very nice. And okay, so that's the only really two lines you have to modify. And if you kind of want to go in more technical details, you can look at the act and render. But basically what I can tell you is that basically exactly what I wrote here. So first, if you look into the spawner, which is an abstract class, and you need to uh, extend this class like this in your class header in order to be able to register a spawner successfully in the spawn manager. So basically for this, the methods that get called is, I believe, first is edit spawn list gets called. So that's like when they're saying like, okay, request a spawn. Now so the spawning mechanics is kind of like interesting because it's like, so like what if there are two competing spawners, right? Like, hey, I want to spawn in like row 1. I also want to spawn in row 1. Well, that's where priority comes in. Okay, so if whoever has higher priority gets to do the thing. And I believe if you have the same priority, the way I programmed it was um, just to treat the, yeah, so whoever basically gets looped through first has the higher priority. So I guess in a way, if you have the same like priority, but then like whoever gets added to this list first, I guess would get the priority in a way. So that's kind of like the special case scenario priority. But anyways, I digress once again. It's probably don't have to worry about that. And so then the other thing about it is that you have the data, of course. So a spawner body data really is just a way so that I have a callback. So that this way it's like a metadata to each of the like bodies in the physics world. And it's really what we're using to power like all these like the main thing of the game. That's why it's called the main survival, as you see here in the package. It's like the main game basically. So um, yeah, basically it just calls spawn list, and then you need to do something like, you have to obviously implement it because it's abstract. You have to do that. So then you could leave it empty until you decide to do something, but basically you do like super.get, and that will get you the data that's already created. So this will return a data priority, and then the data priority has two fields as we saw before. So it has the data and the priority, and then you can set them as you want. So you can only get the object and change the fields. Be like a weird cut, but yeah. So I forgot to go over the methods in the spawner that you can actually implement. So basically, there's get, right? And if you read the implementation, it's pretty obvious. So you got like this spawn list that gets returned when this request spawn list gets called, and see that calls the edit spawn list, which then you implement basically. So this way, like you can't screw anything up. Like I'm just making sure you don't screw anything up. So basically, I'm saying you can only access the spawn list using this method because it is private. So basically, you get the point. You use get, and then you get a data priority, and yeah, you basically can implement the edit spawn list this way. For the act, I think I'm going to go over this in the later on into this video. But on destroy, I did not go into this. On destroy is when a object gets destroyed. So you can actually request for an object to be destroyed. If you look in the spawner body data, there is a boolean for destroy. So if you set this to true, it will get destroyed. If you do that in the act, that's something I did not go over later. So I guess it's kind of like out of chronological order. Okay, so destroy basically is for like entity goes off the screen. Then that entity is going to get destroyed, and its metadata is going to get passed to you before it gets garbage collected and stuff. So you can decide to do whatever you want with the destroyed, basically. So for the car spawner destroyed, I know that the car successfully was able to pass without the player hitting it. So I'm going to award them a point. So that's what on destroy I do here. It's not public. What the hell am I doing? Okay. So basically, it's foolproof. Basically, you can't really screw it up. And now this is another thing: you want to set the data to null, because otherwise, if you just set it for like one condition, like let's say if score is 1, then it'll just keep spawning them because you never set the data to null. And if there's nothing else that would set it to null, so like that's why I have to do it here so that it doesn't just spawn a ghost in every single lane, because you have to reset the value. So like, okay, so this part won't always execute because of this code here, but this will always execute so that after you spawn a ghost, it will definitely clear the ghost and it won't spawn another one the next time. That's just something to watch out for, and you can also just call it clear. The clear also works, so you can just call that before the method every single time, but that's really up to you. This is just more specific and targeted, so that this way, because the clear, like, really, you have rows about 0 to 5 or to 6 rows in total, and you can clear any of them you want. So like, you can either clear all of them or you can clear a specific one. In this case, it's just more efficient in my opinion to do this way. So once you spawn it, let's say like an entity does get spawned, like you have the correct priority and there's nothing competing with you, you just get spawned. Well, then what happens is every single frame, I think the FPS, whatever the FPS is, the frame, this will get called, the act will get called, and you will be able to check whether or not certain conditions are true, and you can mark them to be destroyed, or whatever, play the sound, and then yeah, you can do a lot of stuff. For example, this just says like, okay, well, if you became invincible already, then don't put any more ghosts. Like, destroy all the ghosts that already have been spawned, so that this way you don't get like a double ghost pickup. That's like really weird because of just how I programmed it. And then the drawable, I mean, you should read the documentation. It's just what it looks like. Width is the width of it, and this, and the body definition. Body definition is kind of interesting because you can set certain properties on it, but you probably won't really need that for a lot of things. Unless you're really hardcore, then you might go into that, but you don't really need to. And then the shape is just like the shape of it. Could be like a polygon. For example, the car is not a specific rectangle, so I made a polygon for it. It has about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vertices, and it kind of, because the car, like, it looks like this, so I had to draw and made this like smaller so that if it was a rectangle, it would just gone like this, and the hitbox was just like crazy off. So that's why I did it like that. Yeah. And then you have the dispose, which is here, mdispose. Remember always to do this because it's good, because the physics engine's written C++ or C, I can't remember, but it doesn't really matter. Anyways, memory management is important. Let's see what else. So yeah, basically that's the crash course for this. So pretty much you just have to follow this thing. So usually the height and width are defined in terms of whatever the texture you have, kind of, not really, but just follow this general formula. So the height, you almost always want it to be this, because this is the exact height for about, let me think, this is probably the height I want. What the hell? Interesting. I think this is the height that gets drawn. Yeah. Okay, wait. Okay, well, this does not evaluate to 1/6 of the screen, does it? No, that doesn't make any sense. Wait, no, that should have been 8. Okay, so this is almost a sixth of the screen. So basically you have a slight padding and yeah, stuff happens. Um, I wonder what happens if I make it bigger. That's a good question. But yeah, anyway, so this is general formula you want to do so that it's like slightly smaller than the 1/6 of the screen since there are 6 lanes. And then yeah, you just do this calculation. So basically this is almost always constant. You can just copy this in, and then you can just do this to create your by definition. You can copy these fields. I mean, this is pretty much the simplest like spawner you could ever have. I mean, other than the spawn list, everything else is pretty simple, and then you can put whatever you want into the act. Um, yeah, and this is how you create the shape. Like this is like a regular like square or rectangle or whatever you want. And basically that's what happens. And the ghost spawner is a very simple like class of this. I don't know how long I've been recording. I hope this is under 10 minutes, but if it's over 10 minutes, forgive me. Okay, I'm going to end this.